Hello board gamers, and this is my Andromeda's Edge solo review. First of all, you need this expansion, the escalation, which includes the solo mode. In base game there is no solo mode. So you need this expansion to be able to play this game solo. And the expansion comes with 9 different opponents, so that's really nice. You have lots of different difficult levels and opponents you can play against. And for yourself, you have, I think, something like 14 different factions you can play with the base game and the escalation. I believe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, it seems to be 14. So yeah, you have a lot of content, a lot of replay value with 14 different, actually 15 because one is here. With 15 different races you can play and 9 different solo opponents. So that's a huge plus for me. And on the game itself, it's basically a worker placement game disguised as something else, but basically you are just launching your ships on the board like worker placement, and then there's occasional some combat happening which is done with the dice rolls. So it is in the core just a worker placement game with some extra stuff added on it, but it all works really nice. The setup time is, I would say, average. It's not fast, it's not super long like Voidfall or anything like that, but it's somewhere between that area. And the gameplay, it takes like I think hour and a half. At least it's longer than hour. I think my solo games have usually took me with setup something like 2 hours. But yeah, it's fine. It's fine with the setup time. I think it's okay. Of course, it depends. Are you playing a 50, 60 or 70 points game? I have mainly been playing 70. If you play 50 or 60, it's of course shorter. But I feel like 70 is, for me, I like longer games. And it's not too long with the 70 points even. The solo opponent has some rules you need to learn beyond the base game, and the escalation expansion comes with their own rulebook. In here they tell you how to set up the solo opponent. It's called Unity, and there are different things that are going to happen with some event cards that are not fully functional with the solo mode, but they explain them here. Also, the Unity works a little bit different than human players. Their development buildings are a little bit different. Their launching is a little bit different. The launching is done with a different deck of cards. There are 3 decks, and basically this tells you where they're going to launch. So pretty simple. And you decide with the dice which ship they're going to launch and which card you should look. So it's a pretty simple system. It works really nicely. And the solo mode is quite hard. I think I have been playing now something like a week. I've played somewhere around 6 or 7 games and only win twice against level 1 opponent. So it's a really hard game, at least for me. I feel like if my early game is not perfect, I'm very far behind. It's really hard to catch up the solo opponent. But I like games that are hard, so that's fine. I don't mind that. Solo opponent has its own deck of cards that will do different stuff when combat happens. Sometimes they can just be like no effect, or they can be like battle ends right away. But sometimes they can also be something like extra dice, more targeting. So you don't really know how the combat will go ever, because this deck will change things, and that's okay for me. It's fine that there is some randomized elements to the game. I quite like that. I think in the rules, the rule book is okay. It could be better, it could be worse. There are some things that are really well explained, some things are not, and you have to kind of figure your way out of those, or just Google what people say on Board Game Geek. And when you add the solo mode on top of that, there is even more rules, more things you have to remember. Sometimes the turns can be really difficult to navigate and really long. When Unity runs out of ships, the solo opponent will return all their ships back to the station, and that's when they're going to move around this and do all this stuff. So if they would, for example, return with like 6 ships, you would move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A lot of stuff will happen. It will trigger events. It will develop multiple times. It will take several modules, and there's just really much happening at the same time. And after all that, you have to remember to do the event and place new raiders on the map, and then you are like, whoa, was it my turn? Was it Unity turn? I don't know where I'm at. Did I do all the rules right? Did I miss some rules? That can be a little bit like brain burner. Even for me, who is playing games like Voidfall, LP Universalis, and Spirit Island and stuff like that. So it's definitely not for medium to lightweight gamers game. You have to be somewhere experienced with board games, or the solo mode will be too much for you. I feel like that. So keep that in mind. If I have to score this game, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, the replay value is huge. A lot of factions to play with, a lot of opponents to play against. That's real solid. Gameplay is nice. I feel like this game would really shine with 3 to 4 human players, but the solo mode is doing okay work. But I feel like it's more living game if you have more human players. Difficulty is really high in my opinion, so you won't run out of playing really soon, because you probably have to play this game 20 or 30 times to beat all the opponents, even more. I don't know how hard those level 3 would be, because I haven't tried them yet. It's a nice worker placement game with some extra stuff above it. And if I have to score this one, I would say it's 8 out of 10 for me. It could be 9 out of 10 if the rules were not that, how would I say, difficult to navigate at times. Usually the turns are easy. You need to just roll die, shows where the ship goes, boom, and then you move on the track, etc., and turn is done, it's your turn again. That's not a hard one to do. But when there's a lot of stuff happening, Unity triggers event, Unity returns ships, etc., it can be really confusing. And that's why I'm going to drop it to 8. And if that's not an issue for you, if you like really heavy games, if you are someone who enjoys to play like Voidfall, for example, I'm sure this is a 9 out of 10 game for you. But if you are someone who likes medium Euro-type games or something like that, it could be a little bit too much for you, and you won't have as good time with this game. But it's still it's an amazing game. My complaints are really minor in the end, and it's like your personal taste. If you like heavy games, this is 9 out of 10 for sure. If you are someone who enjoys lighter games, this is not for you probably. At least the solo mode, because it will add extra rules, and yeah, that's going to be too much, I think, for some people. But yeah, it's a really nice game. I'm definitely going to play it more. I'm going to try it with other human players. There's a lot to play. The game won't run out soon. There's also one more small expansion with more playable races and some other stuff. And there are a lot of modular things. I haven't even tried this. You can add different space locations. You can change event text. You can there's a lot of stuff you can add. You can play it with other modules you can add to the game. So there's a lot of variation you can do. And one thing I have to say, these player rates, they are really nice. They have all the phases of the game, all the rules in this one little player rate board. These are really nice, really handy. Yeah, so that's about it. If you have any questions, leave a comment. I will answer all the questions you will give me. And yeah, it's a nice game. Definitely thumbs up for this one. Thanks for watching. Bye.